congratulations for making it to civil service interview.
Thank you so much.
Would you introduce us about yourself and your educational background?
My name is Atul Raj. I graduated from IIT Dhanbad in 2017. I graduated in petroleum engineering, and after that I co-founded a startup. I have also published some research papers, so I have a kind of academic background. That's why I pursued this exam. Currently, I'm working with CNAG as Assistant Audit Officer, and this is my first interview. Thank you so much for this opportunity here.
How was your journey from an IIT to civil services?
It's a journey of ups and downs because the lack of certainty with the respect of employment creates a lot of mental pressure, as well as the expectations of family and colleagues adds to it. So it's a test of resilience, definitely. The kind of curriculum, the kind of patience and discipline required to win over the syllabus of this exam is immense. Also, you have to know the challenges and limitations of your own self. Once I understood that I am not the kind of person who can sit for 5 hours, I need breaks after every 3 hours. With that kind of mindset, that I can't also dedicate my time to my office and newspaper. Having this kind of clarity helped me sail through this journey. So it is important that you find out or chalk the limitations of yourself as well as the circumstances around you. Once you are aware of all those limitations, you can make a good roadmap of what is required and where you are. That will help.
How was your interview today? And what sort of questions were being asked by the board?
I was given the opportunity to interact with Raj Shukla sir. He is a very honorable member and he is famous for asking a lot of questions. But today I did not find any counter questions from his side. He was a little laid back. The questions he asked me was related to my office, the kind of performance audit we do in our office, the impacts and the outcome and changes that can happen in the future, the UN audit associated and the contribution of India in the UN audit. Apart from that, the questions were asked from my Bihar background, from my Mumbai and also Uniform Civil Code and my research papers. Some cursory questions were there. My knowledge of petroleum engineering since I graduated in that was also tested, and my reason for petroleum public administration as an option was also asked there.
Okay. Did the board ask you questions about international relations?
No, I was prepared for those questions. In fact, I had read 3 newspapers in the morning today, but that was missing, which I really wanted to answer, but I was not asked on those lines.
Since this was your first interview, what was your perception about the interview? Because a lot of people go to mock interviews. How different do you see mock interviews from the real interviews? And how was your experience?
I have appeared for about 10 interviews, from which there are 2 interviews that stand out, both of them conducted by Sankalpa. They were closest to the experience today because the board was very cordial. I don't know what they were observing, but the seating arrangement is so different compared to the mock interviews. Here people are sitting right next to you and creates another kind of psyche where in the mock interview that's a different situation. I think the vigor of mock interviews are not mirrored here. Here people are very cordial, they want to make you feel at ease and they want to explore you intellectually. The depth of your intellectual awareness on various aspects is judged, and there is no competition about who is right or who is wrong. That is something that stands out or stands different from the mock interviews compared to the real interview.
You talked about that you wrote research papers, you had your own startup. Take us through those research papers and through your startup.
I was born in Bihar, so I was very excited to do something for Bihar. The people of Bihar face energy security as a challenge. I graduated in petroleum engineering and I wrote some research papers with the idea to reduce the energy insecurity. We wanted to work on reducing the cost of exploration of petroleum in India because we import about 89% of our crude requirements. So my energy research papers were about the nanoparticle engineering to reduce the cost of exploration. I have published 3 research papers, one of them being in USA where I went physically, the one published in European journal and the other one was published in the South African Journal of Chemical Engineers. There are 3 research papers related to fly ash. Apart from that, I also worked on the air pollution of Delhi, a startup called Shuddh Vayu, where we wanted to put HEPA filters on top of a car because when the AQI increases, we can have so many cars running, and non-BS6 cars and the taxi drivers who are not allowed to run on the road can put that device on top of their car and probably are allowed to run and also continue their livelihood. So it was a livelihood saving device. currently we are awaiting some approval from the ministry for that purpose. And my journey with UPSC will, I hope, to contribute in various ways for the society in future.
Okay, since you are from IIT and then you had started your own, like you had
Co-founded a startup.
yeah, you are a brilliant mind. What prompted you to come to civil services?
The scale of challenges, the scale of contribution, and the talent, the talent of colleagues here is amazing. I think that is what inspires me. If I get the opportunity to go into LBSNAA, the kind of peer group I will meet, the kind of contribution I can do in the district, because I come from Darbhanga, and there's a lot of challenges of industrialization. That is something I'm aiming for. Also, I had the opportunity of very good education, but a lot of people are not getting that kind of opportunity. I do want to contribute something in that field where the quality of education for our country greatly improves, and I would want to contribute on that field.
Okay, that's amazing. Take us through the journey of your. What's your optional subject?
Public administration.
Public administration. And okay, public administration. That will definitely help you in understanding
Administration at large.
administration theoretically
Yes, sir.
as well as practically, because you are in the services right now. So take us through the journey of your prelims preparation. How did it go? How did it start?
This is my fifth attempt. At some point, I got really demotivated. I left the preparation. But it was on 12th of February of 2025 that I decided that I have to do it seriously this time. I wrote a small chart on which day of which month I'll be completing which subject, how many test series I'll take, how many revisions of previous year questions I will do. I made a small chart and I followed it through and through. I did not spend a lot of time on reading the books because of my previous maybe failures. But then this time I was sure that I'll not be focusing on reading. I'll only focus on writing, that is the test papers, as well as previous year question analysis. That is the two strong pillars of my preparation. No studying, nothing. Towards the last quarter, I realized I do need to learn some facts, some data from environment, some economy. I dedicated some 15-20 days to revise all of that. That was the only preparation I did for prelims. Coming to mains, when I wrote my prelims, I knew that I was getting about 130s in the prelims, which is well above the cutoff. So I knew that I had to write mains this year. It was then that I started. That is about 30th of May that I started my mains journey. I broke it down into three pillars. One being GS, one being optional, one being essay ethics. I started with essay ethics. I completed that about in 15 to 20 days, a basic framework, and I continued writing essay. The next came was optional. I did paper 1 properly. I just want to tell all of you guys that it's not necessary to complete all the syllabus, but what you do has to be done thoroughly in all possible manner. I just did my paper 1 and half of my paper 2.
Given the unpredictability of this exam, how did you keep yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally fit?
I also practice meditation. I am also interested in running. So these are two things that I do. I do take a walk in the Central Railway Park that we have, and meditation is something that I do every day.
Okay, what are your hobbies, and how do you pursue your hobbies? And what is the role of hobbies in civil service?
Hobby is extremely important. It is only at the interview stage that we realize how important hobby is, because given the preparation, it becomes difficult to manage your time, especially as a working professional. But in the interview stage, the depth of questions related to hobby and the demeanor it brings to your personality, because there is a stress that comes by preparation and there is a stress relief that comes by hobby. It is very important to have a very strong system for stress relieving. My hobbies include driving motorcycle. I have an Interceptor 650 and that is something I really enjoy. I stay in Mumbai and I just love driving.
What's your take on mental health and UPSC preparation?
It's a make or break game. It's very important for us to take care of our mental health, given the current competitiveness and the anxiety that comes here. I think the role of family and friends are very strong here. I'm very blessed to have a very strong support of my family, friends, and everybody around me. They have been very extremely supportive. All my office members as well. So in my case, I did not face a lot of mental health issues, but I'm sure that it's very important part of it.
How was the night before interview, and how do you feel now?
I could not sleep.